Hello, today for review I've got one of the most discussed dubs of few recent months. Dethonray DTR1 Prelude appeared out of nowhere and caused a lot of discussions all over the forums, all over the audiophile forums. You know, it's at the same time it's a fresh breath of the portable audio market, and at the same simultaneously it's also kind of nostalgia, bringing back the times when the most important thing in every dub was its sound, because there is no some fancy firmware. It's okay, but it's just a basic, but I will cover that later, and everything here is dedicated to achieving the maximum possible sound. It's based on the AK4490 digital audio converter that is proved by time, and price is about $530. And now let's have a closer look. Simple minimalistic box, black cardboard, nothing fancy, just barcode and company's name. Inside there is another box made of cardboard. Here you will have warranty card and quick start guide as usual, and actually nice touch, it's creator's business card. Player itself, and underneath you will have charger and USB cable. Important thing here is that here used not the micro USB or USB-C, but micro HDMI, if I remember right, and because of internal power supply schema that is used by this dub, it can be charged only with his charger. It's a bit of inconvenience, but it's the price you pay for the advanced power schema. In terms of design, player is pretty basic and minimalistic, but its main feature, it's really small. Size is about, you know, close to SR15 normal, for example. Let me compare size with Bluetooth Pow Gold Touch. As you can see, it's smaller and much thinner. In next part, when we'll speak about the sound, I will explain why I used Bluetooth as a comparison source. Design is minimalistic, black aluminum, on the back side plastic insert, really shiny one. It gathers fingerprints, of course, but I think it's not an issue for this dub. Here is volume control, on-off button, micro SD card slot. This player doesn't have its own memory, so you can use it with external micro SD cards only. Here is line out and headphones output, charging and slot. Also it can be used to access the memory card, reset button. So no fancy advanced features like wireless network or for example, let's say use it as a digital analog converter, coaxial out, USB audio out, so just listen to the music. In terms of power, usually work time from one battery charge will be about 10 hours, usually from 9 with half to 10 with half. And on the front panel 5 buttons and a screen. So let me turn it on. Boot up is pretty fast. Firmware is based on the Linux OS, and like 5 seconds boot up, and then just quick scan of memory card and it's done. Player is created with sound in mind, and it's dedicated to sound, so all other features are barely minimalistic. For example, screen isn't really bright, so I have to dim studio lights to make it visible. And firmware is pretty basic. It consists of 5 parts, and there is no media library. You just browse your SD card contents, and as it often happens with some firmware, its files are sorted not alphabetically but in order of creation. Maybe it was fixed in recent firmwares, but I didn't update it yet. Actually, Author updates firmwares pretty frequently, and many things getting fixed. So it's just minimalistic approach. You select necessary file, you start it, and you listen to it. So up and down buttons used for tracks navigation, central button used as play pause. Also you can fast forward or fast backward tracks using left and right button if you hold and press them, and left button bring you back to the last menu you was in. Settings, there is system information, language selection, but actually selection isn't really big. Play order, backlight time, brightness, should the player split queue files, gain, one of few digital filters, auto shutdown to save battery, database upgrade, it's really fast, settings reset, and firmware update. So as you can see, just really minimalistic UI, no cover display or something like that, but I think it allows you to focus on the sound. So no features like equalizer, no fancy media library, just the basic things that you need to enjoy the music. And of course about the sound. Actually the sound is the main reason why you can select this DAB and why you can live with this firmware and not the brightest screen. Because sound here is really great. Let me put earphones on the table and let's proceed. So it's really powerful player. Actually in the official technical specifications mentioned 1.7 volts per channel, but I'm not sure is this number correct, because you know it can drive 300 ohm headphones without any issues, and that's surprising for such a small device. It's definitely powerful, and moreover it can drive planars also without big issues. For example, I really liked it with my Meze Empyrean. It's probably one of the best DABs to drive them. Of course, flagship models with price above $1,000 are also okay, as well as, for example, Ibasso DX220, but this device does the wonders in terms of power. And its sound, of course, it's not natural, it's not monitoring, it's emotional with highlighted emotions, really engaging and really fun. And that's why I've mentioned Lotto Puff Gold Touch before, because you know, for me these two DABs have a pretty similar signature with one slight exception. So if you want Lotto Puff Gold Touch but for less price, you can get DTR1. So bass is deep and it's really realistic, really lifelike. Sometimes it's even more lifelike than in real life. You can take something like Prodigy Diesel Power, for example, and you will have this deepest layers of bass, really powerful and crushing. And or you can get something like Too Much Heaven on Their Minds from Jesus Christ Superstar, and you will have also this bass line, but now it's different type of bass, and in both cases it's super realistic and lifelike. It has great texturing, perfect control, and it has good balance of weight and impact and detalization. Mids are also on a bit on the emotional side. It's highlighting emotions a little bit, and that's why I like it, for example, with classical rock, with Dire Straits, with Nazareth. I like it with heavy metal, so with genres, with jazz music. So live records, well, maybe not live, but records with real instruments that require emotions. It's the strongest part of this DAB, and thanks to its driving power, it's also really great in building imaginary stage. It's spacious, not noticeably above average both in width and in depth, and it's really good in this aspect because it won't sound congested or small or intimate. and it has pretty well defined treble with perfect balance, and actually it's the most noticeable difference with Loto Puff Gold, because Loto is a bit more aggressive on the upper mids and lower treble, while this one is more natural here, but at the same time it has perfect control, great treble extension, and really good layering for this price range. In terms of layering, and I usually pay attention for this aspect, it can be compared with some dubs in the $1,000 range or like that. As an example of treble, I can name any good jazz record, for example, Hiromi Uehara that I like, Snarky Puppy, and other nice jazz records. But of course, jazz at the pawn shop is number one example here, because treble play important role in this record. It's one of the best live records with perfect quality, and you just can close your eyes and imagine that club where it was recorded, and treble here plays important role, and this player really succeeds here. So, to summarize the part about the sound, it's engaging, emotional, really lifelike, and not dull, not monitoring, not focused on the micro contrast, but with good resolution at the same time. It can drive almost everything, especially big headphones, but with the most sensitive in-ear monitors it can has a bit of background noise, but in recent versions level of background noise noticeably decreased, and I simply use Hi-Fi image, and it solves all the issues. Probably this time I won't do any comparisons, because it's really simple this time. If you need the best, if you like engaging and emotional sound, and if you need on sound and only sound, and you are okay to sacrifice a bit of comfort, nice fancy firmware and additional features, DTR1 is a great option for you. Otherwise, you need to consider other dubs, and this one is created with sound as the main target. So it was Dethonray DTR1 player, created for those who need sound and only sound. Thank you for attention.